What happens when your livelihood depends on selling what someone else calls a lie? In the bustling city of Ephesus, this exact scenario was about to explode into one of the most dramatic confrontations in early Christian history. Ephesus wasn't just any city. It was the crown jewel of Asia Minor, home to one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, the magnificent Temple of Artemis. This wasn't just a religious site. It was an economic powerhouse. Thousands of pilgrims flocked here annually, buying silver shrines, miniature temples, and goddess figurines. The entire economy revolved around Artemis worship. Enter Paul the Apostle. For 2 years, he had been preaching in Ephesus, and his message was spreading like wildfire. People were abandoning their magic books, burning them publicly despite their enormous value. Former idol worshippers were turning to Christ in droves. The transformation was so dramatic that Luke records in Acts 19:20, "So the word of the Lord grew mightily and prevailed." But success often breeds opposition. Demetrius, a skilled silversmith who crafted shrines for Artemis, watched his profits plummet. He wasn't just concerned about his own business. He was the leader of the Craftsmen's Guild. Entire families depended on the Artemis trade. Panic was setting in. Demetrius called an emergency meeting of his fellow craftsmen. His speech was masterful manipulation, mixing genuine economic concerns with religious fervor. "Men, you know that we have our prosperity by this trade," he declared. "Moreover, you see and hear that not only at Ephesus, but throughout almost all Asia, this Paul has persuaded and turned away many people, saying that they are not gods which are made with hands." Notice his strategy. First, he appealed to their wallets. Then he escalated to religious outrage, warning that their great goddess Artemis herself was in danger of being despised. He painted Paul not just as a business threat, but as a blasphemer attacking their entire way of life. The craftsmen's anger ignited instantly. They began shouting, "Great is Artemis of the Ephesians!" The cry spread through the city like a contagion. Soon, a massive crowd had gathered, most of them having no idea why they were even shouting. They seized 2 of Paul's companions, Gaius and Aristarchus, and dragged them toward the great theater. The theater of Ephesus could hold 25,000 people. Imagine the chaos as thousands of angry citizens poured in, chanting, screaming, demanding answers. Some shouted one thing, some another. Acts 19:32 captures the pandemonium perfectly. So the assembly was confused, and most of them did not know why they had come together. Paul desperately wanted to address the crowd, but his disciples wouldn't let him. Even some Asian officials, friends of Paul, sent urgent messages begging him not to venture into the theater. They knew mob justice when they saw it. For 2 solid hours, the crowd chanted, "Great is Artemis of the Ephesians." 2 hours of non-stop shouting, their voices echoing off the marble walls. The Jews in the crowd tried to put forward Alexander to speak, but when the crowd realized he was Jewish, they shouted even louder. Finally, the city clerk stepped forward. This wasn't just any official. He was essentially the mayor of Ephesus, responsible for maintaining order and Roman favor. His intervention was brilliant political maneuvering. "Men of Ephesus," he announced, "what man is there who does not know that the city of the Ephesians is temple guardian of the great goddess Artemis?" He acknowledged their devotion while subtly deflating their panic. If Artemis was truly great, could she really be threatened by mere words? He pointed out that Paul's companions hadn't robbed temples or blasphemed their goddess. If Demetrius had legitimate grievances, there were proper legal channels. "For we are in danger of being called in question for today's uproar," he warned, "there being no reason which we may give to account for this disorderly gathering." With those words, he dismissed the assembly. The crowd dispersed, the immediate danger passed, but the underlying tension remained. This uprising reveals timeless truths about human nature. Economic fear can quickly morph into religious extremism. Mob mentality can overwhelm reason. People will defend traditions they profit from, even when confronted with truth. Yet Paul's ministry continued. The gospel had taken root so deeply in Ephesus that even a citywide riot couldn't uproot it. Sometimes the greatest opposition comes not from religious authorities, but from those whose livelihoods depend on maintaining the status quo.